Today I wanted to come and just share kind of what I've been seeing in the educational world as a teacher of 25 years. Um, I have no idea how this will go. I chose not to do a script just so I could share how things are going in the world of teaching. I know my school is not uh, unique in what it's facing, um, but I just wanted to share. Uh, I shouldn't be emotional at all with this, but after 25 years of watching what is going on in education, in it's reached a point that let me restart. As a teacher, I should have a creative hook, and I just chose to kind of speak as I see things about something that I feel that I see every single day. Um, so let me take a step back. The reason for this video is just to find a way to ask for help, I guess is the right way to say it. Um, from what I've been seeing in the classroom, from what I've been experiencing in school, and like I said, I know this is not unique to my school. Um, it's not unique to Maryland. It's not unique to the United States. Some of this has just been going on for so long. So I just wanted to share some of the actual data, but the prompting for this really is 2 weeks ago, uh, I just saw things taking place in an escalated way. Um, Watching coworkers um, defend, I guess, is the way to say it, against a student who was attacking them, punching them, kicking them, um, against a locked door that was being locked for to keep a student out who is having issues, who has had those issues. So when he elopes, we're keeping him out of the classroom to keep the kids safe. But during one of the incidents, right down the hall in the next grade level, I watched a coworker getting punched and kicked. I watched 5 other coworkers come to just engage with the student and to de-escalate the situation with words being thrown out, the kid cursing and demanding into the classroom, and inside the classroom later to find out that those kids were nervous and scared. I teach in a school district where there was a school shooting recently, and thankfully that was not a school shooting that ended in a death, but just with the escalation with that, with the awareness of that this is going on in lots of places. And I guess as a teacher, there's a lot of, again, I apologize for all the uhs. I feel like 25 years ago when I was being taught by my, when I was a student teacher, when I'm nervous, I guess I do that. But with this, as a teacher, again, of 25 years, there's a fear. And I don't know if I can say that as a guy, but there's a fear. There's 2 fears. One, I'll lose my job if I say anything clearly. If I actually bring it to light. And then there's the fear of injury, or there's the fear of losing my job, the fear of losing my credentials as a teacher, just for speaking up clearly. And I feel like this is the thing that's hard about being a teacher right now is if we speak up, if we share with the community what's going on, it's so sugar-coated. It's so, because we're trying to make the kids feel safe and saying, talk to a trusted adult. But parents, I don't think parents know what it's like to be in the classroom. And this is not unique to my school, I know. And I don't know who to talk to about it. So I already feel like I'm shouting into the air, with no one listening. There's no one to talk to. And this is not on principal. I've been 25 years under multiple principals. Our superintendent seems decent, like willing to listen. But at the end of the day, nothing is being done to help. Students are fearful, being locked in classrooms for safety. Um, Teachers are being hit, and even in this incident last week or 2 weeks ago, again, it's on camera, but no one actually looks at the camera incidents. No one looks at what happened at exactly this time and says, this is the truth. There is no embellishment. Um, and I guess I'm just coming on today to share what I'm seeing, with the secondary fear of, after 25 years, if I share exactly what I'm seeing, if I do speak up for my coworkers, that I could be fired for standing up for what is right, for fired for saying what is going on to my coworkers is not okay. And again, I'm an elementary school teacher. There's a few guys here, but most of it in elementary school, guys just don't really like working with kids. I don't know if that's okay to say. Or the younger grades, most male teachers prefer middle school and high school. But I like trying to be a male influence here, especially being being raised by a single mom. Like I want to be a positive influence for younger kids, but it's hard because I'm asked to follow certain protocols that don't make sense. To not stand up for kids who are worried and scared, to to sugarcoat things that are actually going on in the school, to and I don't know who to ask for help. I can ask my principal, I can talk to my area superintendent, my superintendent, I can talk to my union, but there's just paperwork, things fizzle out, and nothing actually gets done, and it's not okay. The educational system today is not okay. And I'm not the type of person to speak up in an angry way. I don't believe yelling and screaming leads to anything helpful. And there's definitely a time to speak up. There's definitely a time to just speak up for the people that are being oppressed. As a fifth grade teacher, we talk so much about history, from the time of the Revolutionary War to the Civil War to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to civil rights. We're in that curriculum in fifth grade all the time. And just seeing how right now teachers, students need someone to speak up for them. Someone to actually say that it's not okay. Having spent so much time, teaching for 25 years about people like Rosa Parks that just stand up and say, hey, this is not okay. We need more people to be saying, hey, what's going on in schools is not okay. The kids are not okay. Teachers are not okay. And when your coworkers, after being attacked, and in the past 2 or 3 weeks, it's been like 9 different things. Daily, there are kids running through the hall, just being contained. Hopefully they're not eloping to school, otherwise we have to call the police. And that's not okay. And I don't know what the solution is to be done. Like I said, none of my coworkers really want to file the reports anymore, saying, hey, I've been kicked, I've been punched, I've been threatened. A 6-year-old has told me, hey, I want to kill you. Like, all those things just aren't okay. And so that's the purpose of this video this morning, is just to go through a few things that I'm seeing at ground level, some of the data that makes teaching so tough, and to just come to some of you out there and just say, parents, do you know what's going on in the school? because you're the ones that can make a change. I can't. I'm just a teacher and I'm supposed to stay in my lane. But my lane is making sure that the kids have what they need to be successful and they don't. It's to communicate with the parents and tell them how to help their child. But I'm supposed to stay in my lane and to be quiet, and that just doesn't seem like the correct path. That doesn't seem like the right thing to do. And I was raised to stand up for people who are being mistreated. As a country kid, as a farm kid from Pennsylvania, that's how I was raised. Like, stand up for people that are being looked down on, stand up for what's right. And I know that's such a subjective thing, but what's not right is when teachers are being attacked physically and saying it's not worth filing the paperwork. It'll go to the principal, it'll go somewhere up, but then it's not addressed. At the end of the day, we come back the next day, do the same thing, and it happens again. The same student that had attacked the teacher 2 weeks ago is back in school a day or two later doing the same thing. And if it was just a kid threatening me, I'm 46. I can handle that. But it's not okay when other kids have to sit through that on a daily basis and think that that is right. And I don't know what the answer is, but I know the answer is not avoiding and just putting it on someone else to fix it. I know that more people need to stand up and say, hey, this is not okay. And one of the things I was thinking, as I've been teaching the last several weeks, in Maryland, we do something called SEL lessons, or social emotional learning lessons, where we talk about friendship, we talk about speaking up for people that are being mistreated, people that are being bullied, people that are, and we look at all kinds of things. We talk about the way Mexican Americans were mistreated in California. We've talked about Rosa Parks. We talk about fictional characters. And as I was reflecting on that, because I do reflect on that, because I'm asked to reflect on it at every training, check my lens, and I'm checking it. I want to do better. I want to understand. I do. But at the end of the day, when I was teaching the lesson the other day, it dawned on me, like, I'm telling these kids to speak up before the fight, share when you're being bullied, so that I can help the best that I can with the limited resources and abilities I can while staying in my lane. I realized that I'm not standing up for people. I'm being a hypocrite by not saying, hey, this is going on in the schools. This is what is happening. And the problem, one of the problems is, after all those social emotional lessons that I'm doing 20 minutes every single day, the kids are still having the same issues dealing with bullying and threatening. And I teach in the most diverse city in America, at least as of 2025. That's not hyperbole, that is fact. And these issues, these racial issues, these threats, these levels of violence, the bullying continues. So teaching kids about social emotional learning is not really having the effects that we want it to do, that they're making better choices, that they are more compassionate, that they are less less apt to use hurtful words and language toward people. So with that, parents, I would just encourage you that you ask what's going on in your school district, what's going on in your school, how many actual threats, how many actual physical acts of violence to other kids or staff have been there this week. Like I said, I know that we're not alone in this. I know my school is not unique. In fact, elementary would probably be better than middle school and high school. But until something is done to bring everyone together and acknowledge that these are issues that are not okay, and addressing it proactively before another school shooting or act of violence, there are so many things that it's just not worth documenting anymore. Like that teachers are attacked, people won't stand up for themselves. People will just take the punches. Teachers here will just take the punches and the abuse and not report it because nothing is done. At the end of the day, our union is limited. Our principal, superintendent is very limited on the ways that they're allowed to approach things. And the kids don't know where the line of what is right and what is wrong is. Like I said, from the SEL lessons, they can give all the right answers. They know all the right answers, but it's not breeding a healthier, more understanding group. And that's not just this year. That is 25 years of looking at that, and things aren't actually changing. And I don't know who out there can help curb this epidemic that we're in, that who can help this situation. I'm just a guy. I am one teacher amidst a bunch. And I have 5 years until I get my pension, but I like what I do. And I don't want to just be here to collect a paycheck. In fact, like if anyone from the county is listening, before you decide to fire me or whatever, it's like I'm grateful for the amount of money that my school district invests in us. I am grateful for having a job, and I know I've seen exactly what you all have seen. Like 71% of teachers have a side job. Yeah, yes, we do, and that's okay because that's what we're signed up to do. Teaching is not a part-time job; it's like a double job, but then you gotta do something else just to pay the bills, and that's okay. That's what I signed up for. I should get 2 months off in the summer, but we have a week or two of trainings, and I work in the summer doing summer school because I need the income, and that's okay. That's part of my job. That's part of the gig. Teachers have always done that. And I don't want to be here for a paycheck, but I need there to be some acknowledgement that things aren't working. And I guess the next thing, like for people out there, is the people writing the curriculum, the theorists of the science of learning people. I don't know how you are analyzing the science. I've taught math 12 different ways, and I always tell parents, I don't know if it's working better, but some of the kids it does help. Some of the kids, it helps them to be able to multiply or long divide, to do different strategies. But other kids, it's just confusing learning why math works instead of just doing it. And as a teacher, one of the things is leading to so much teacher burnout. I've had multiple people that I know and care about, because of all the issues, rather than speaking up, they just retire. They just leave education. And yeah, so it's like, what do we do with that? We look at the data, our math data, because as a teacher, we look at data every week, every 2 weeks. We're constantly reflecting on what we're doing. And if I take just math, again, my limited lens, because I am just the guy, I am one guy. I've taught for 6 years since COVID, when I transitioned from 4th grade to 5th grade. I've taught our curriculum. I taught it exactly as it's supposed to be taught. I watched the videos on how to teach it. I taught it exactly the same way, going through all the steps as I was told to do. Trust the process, trust the process. And then after 3 years of doing it, the process was saying that our school and my class was doing worse than other schools in our district, in our little cluster of schools within our massive school district. And so, like I was told, like I was taught as a farm kid in Pennsylvania growing up, ask for help. So I reached out to other schools. I said, what are you guys doing? I saw the data. I'm actually thinking about it. I'm not just trying to get through a staff meeting. I care. And I reached out to other school districts or other schools that were doing better than us with the same clientele. Like I said, we're the most diverse city in America, and I love that. And I reached out to other schools with the same dynamics that are doing better than us, as I was told growing up to do. And some people higher up thought that I was trying to buck the system, that I was trying to go against what was right, and I was asking for help. I will do everything, every step. But at the end of the day, because I'm looking at my data constantly, I see that it's not working. I see the kids, especially in fifth grade at the end of elementary school, the kids who don't like math because they're not doing well, struggling so much. So what can I do better? And with that, some people higher up were almost, it seemed like upset that I reached out for help and asked what else I could do better. Isn't that the whole point of checking my lens, trying to be a better teacher, looking at the data, to actually look at it and then say, hey, it's not working. So understanding why, I understand, I've been through the trainings, I understand what's supposed to be happening, but at the end of the day, I forget what the national fact was. Like, when people graduate, there's like 35% of kids that can read on grade level that can actually do it. And math was around that same rate. I think our county is a little bit better on that. So I'm looking at the data. I'm trying to analyze. I'm asking for help, but who do you ask for? Or who do you go to ask for help? It's like speaking into the wind. Everyone says, well, you need to look at the problems. And I am. And I'm saying, I don't know the answer. Does another school have a better idea? Things I can add, ways I can better what I'm doing. I can see that I'm failing. I'm saying I'm failing. I'm asking what I can do, and all you keep doing is pointing back to what I'm supposed to be doing. And with science, the other frustration is like, because in fifth grade we have to take the Maryland science test. The frustration with that is we don't have time to teach science anymore. And because of that, my school last year dropped from 30% of fifth graders being able to pass the science test to 17. And sitting in a staff meeting, analyzing that data, that's not a good feeling. Only 17 of the kids in last year's class were able to pass the state test. And when I raised my hand and asked, can you tell me in our school district who's doing better so that maybe we can look at what they're doing? I found out that our county average of success is at 19% of people who can pass the test. And I said, is there any school that's doing better? Can we look at any school in some of the wealthier parts of our county? Because it's a very wealthy county. Can we look at some of the impoverished? Are there any blips on the radar of schools that are doing it? And the answer was no. And when I'm asking these questions, when I try to reach up to people above me and say, what can be done? What can we change? What can we do? Are you not aware that 17% is a failing grade? 17% of kids can pass it. And then we dive into the data deeper. There's no response. We dive into the data deeper, and we're told, like when we go into these trainings, look, because we need to be aware that the Hispanic and African American students are doing worse. So what can we be doing to help them? And yes, I've been in this county, this very diverse county, that I love for 25 years, and I don't know. I keep saying I don't know. I know I'm from a central Pennsylvania mountain farmer, white boy. I don't know how to help. I'm saying I don't. So please help me to know how to do my job better. And no one even takes a look at there's only 17% of kids that can pass. So what does it matter if in this instance, I know I have to check my words carefully, in this instance, that Hispanic and African American students are not performing as well? They're all failing deeply. It's not working. So either the tests are rigged and wrong, or my school district isn't approaching it correctly. But when you actually ask the questions and stop and ask a common sense question like, we're all failing, we're all of us, like, the attitudes, the elopers, the violent students, the threats aside, they're all failing. What can we do better? Don't hand me another curriculum and make it worse. Every time there is a new curriculum telling me that's the answer, 5 years later, someone says, oh, well, we realize now that now phonics is the right way to go. And we should have been doing this. So for 20 years, you've been teaching wrong, but it's not your fault. Isn't it? I did it. I trusted the system, like I'm told. You're my boss. I'm your employee. But at the end of it, I want to be doing a better job for my students. And again, that's why I want to make this video and just say that in some regards, I should have spoken up sooner. And I don't know who will actually watch this. I don't know who will actually see this. And I didn't even know where to post it. I tried to stay off the screen because, again, AI can make this look a little bit better, a lot better. But again, at the end of the day, I'm just that one guy. I am not anything special. But I can speak up and say I'm doing a disservice to my students. I can stand up and say that, hey, you up there that are doing the curriculum, the theorists in a lab, come into the classroom. You know what the data in real life shows? Only 17% of kids in my class, only 19% of my kids, or the kids on average in my school district, can pass your science test. Because we're not teaching science, we're doing social emotional learning, we're doing other curriculum. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to try all those things, but it's not working. And it's not okay. The students aren't okay, the teachers aren't okay. And someone just needs to take a step back and address the elephant in the room. And actually rather than just trying to come up with something new and shiny, like say, hey, all this hasn't been working. Let's back map this thing. Let's address this elephant. If you've ever read that poem about the blind people who are touching different parts of the elephant and all seeing it a different way, everyone is so focused on reading or math, science, but no one is putting the whole elephant together. And I would say the elephant has been unaddressed for so long that we need to take a step back. This is more of a brontosaurus, a dinosaur-sized problem. And no one is taking a step back and saying, 17% is not right. The amount of violent attacks aren't right. The fact that teachers won't even fill out the paperwork anymore after they're being attacked because they have files of it and nothing actually comes back to us for help, it makes us feel ignored. So we're not doing it, and that's not right either. So I don't know what needs to be done, but something in the common sense world needs to be taking place when there is a student having an episode that is getting violent in school, when a principal at my school a couple years ago was pushed down the stairs by a second grader who was having an emotional outburst while she was trying to say, how can I help? Like, what's going on? Okay, I see you're having big feelings. And then she gets pushed down the stairs and she won't file a report. That's not okay. And I don't know. And finding out also after that incident 2 weeks ago at my school, someone from the county, from the Board of Ed, was actually in the building earlier that day to see if there was anything going on. And she didn't see that happen. But why can't we check out the video and say, hey, at this time, I'm not making this up. Check the cameras in the hallway. This happened. Or rather than coming to the schools and seeing if it will happen when you're there, check the cameras from the staff when we tell you it happened at this time and this time and this time. And finding out also after that incident that our restraint team, like 10 years ago, I was on a restraint team that talked about, like, when a student is escalating to a certain point, here's when and how to properly restrain someone so that they do not get injured. But finding out the restraint team's rules right now are you can't restrain. Like, all you can do is block. So while that one student was beating on the classroom door, kids were crying on the other side, the team of adults was just supposed to block the door, but you're not supposed to put your body in front of the door. And like I said, this comes after a recent school shooting in my county. So people were and are still a little, very amped up about that in a way. And then ironically yesterday, we had to take a county training just on what to do during a tornado, what to do with the different drills. And our county, at least, we're supposed to, if there's an active event, an active shooter in the building, because of what took place a couple weeks ago, we were retrained on that. And right now, like, we're supposed to lock our doors, move our students away from the doors and windows, and then we're supposed to avoid an incident like that, an active shooter, keep people safe. We're supposed to also deny them by blockading the door. But then they said, use your professional judgment, but then defend if there's an active thing. So my question is to the higher ups, when do we defend? When do I or another teacher step up and say, this kid beating on the door with his fist and throwing his body against the door, do I defend that? Is that a time? If the kid had scissors, do I defend that? If they're not the child safety scissors, but they're the adult teacher scissors, do I defend that? If they actually have a weapon, do I defend that? You need to define some of these things for us. And I have no idea where the Good Samaritan rules come in on this, when you're just supposed to do the right thing. And I don't know what the right thing is. But I do feel that the right thing is addressing, hey, there are issues. There are major issues. And they've been going on for a long time. And ignoring it's not working. And I don't want to see my coworkers being assaulted. I don't want to just find a safer position. I don't want to find an easier job. I want to help just bring awareness to these issues in such a way that people will realize this is an issue. People in their own school districts will ask to see the camera footage of what's going on, to know how many violent attacks during the school day are happening that aren't being reported. I really wish that teachers and parents could have an open conversation about here's what happened, not just telling the students, tell a trusted adult and us sugarcoating it. That's what I wish. I wish someone would actually step into the gap and say, it's not right, it's not working, rather than getting angry. Anger is not helping the situation. Anger is just building upon what we're dealing with each and every day with the anger. You know, and the system's not working. And again, I am just a guy. I don't know Linda McMahon. If you know what you're doing up there, I don't. I do know, I've heard the worries of, special ed won't get funded and all that stuff if the Board of Ed is disassembled, or if Linda McMahon does things. But I can tell you, you could throw 3 more special ed teachers, 10 more special ed teachers into my school, and it won't help the way that it looks on paper. The theory says more adults should be able to help the system, but if we have in our building, I don't know, 5 to 6 students who are constantly running out of the classroom, attacking, verbally threatening, then those special ed teachers are being used with walkie-talkies to be pulled out of the classroom. So they're not able to help the way that it looks on paper. I don't know what needs to be taking place, but I need, and I hope that some people will see this and say, okay, let me ask my school district. Let me ask what's going on. Let me as a teacher stand up and say what's going on is not okay, and I'm not the only one. Again, I am 46. I'm somewhere between Generation X and Millennial. I'm in the Xennial range. Generation X, that part of me wants to say, watch it all, keep going downhill. They build it, let's watch it fall apart. The Millennial, the softer, let's acknowledge your emotions, let's find out what's really going on, let's talk it out. Part of me wants to be able to talk, but there's no one really to talk to. And there has to be some middle ground between doing nothing and watching it fall apart and saying, yep, that's the way I said it was going to happen, with let's do something to care for the kids. Let's help their emotions. But let's do so in such a way that they're not leaving elementary school traumatized. Again, I don't take PTSD lightly, having had several family members in the military who have struggled with that. But being in the classroom and being in school, I don't see how theoretically it's that much different when you're being attacked every day. When my coworkers, at least 5 in the past 2 weeks, have been in tears because of being attacked, and then they come back and do it again the next day. They suck it up and they give a state test because that they have to do that. And again, I'm not hyperbolizing these things are happening. And if you're a teacher out there, I don't know what to tell you. I know at least in my school, people don't want to speak up because they fear losing their jobs. And honestly, that's why we don't speak up and we don't speak the whole truth. And I guess that makes me guilty of not standing up sooner. But Generation X, that side of you, we need you to speak up. You have kids in school right now, though they may be a little older, that are struggling with this, navigating all this. Millennial generation, that softer side. Yes, we need to be acknowledging kids' emotions, but we also need to be looking at how the teachers are doing. Actually sit down with a teacher and have a conversation, and don't just be quick to troll it or judge it. Don't just say, hey, oh yeah, teaching isn't that hard. Because most of us that are still here, we want to be here. We love this job. Like for me, 25 years in, I didn't want to be a teacher at all, but I wanted to do something that could help people. I want to stay doing this because I want to help kids. And it's hard being in a job where I see kids being threatened, staff being threatened, and then forced to every week look at the results of what we're doing and seeing that it is not making a difference. I've seen the videos that have come out in the past, or the news that has come out from researchers. You're finally acknowledging some of it, theorists up there, that Gen Z is the first generation where the numbers are going down. They're not smarter than the previous generation. Academically, their attention span, their just performance ability is not there. Is it their fault? Is it the parents' fault? Is it the educators' fault? I would say it's our fault collectively. We're letting it go on because it's easier. I have said nothing for 25 years because it's easier. It's safer. Easier and safer doesn't make it right. So if you need to blame someone, I guess blame me because I didn't speak up sooner. Whoever you need to blame, but again, we need to work on this together. We need someone who will be able to bring these things to light in a way that actually moves things forward. Ignoring the problem is not helping it. Patching the problem is not helping it. Saying you know the answer isn't helping it. Looking at the actual data of what's going on is what it would take to change the situation. But we live right now in a time period where people don't like to say, I'm wrong. I need to change my trajectory. This isn't right. And I wish there'd be more people that would stand up in their own professions and just say, this is not right. It's not okay. We're not okay. The kids are not okay. The system, teachers are not okay. So teachers in Arizona, if anyone from Arizona is watching this, I don't know why you would be, but I hear you. I see your frustrations for the 1,000 teachers that have quit. The 1,000 teachers that are filling in, I hear you too. Over half of teachers don't survive 5 years of education. It's hard. This is a hard job. Being with people 7 hours a day is a hard job. Just like so many other jobs, it's hard, but it's rewarding. And I am not complaining about the logistics of my job. I am not complaining about my principal. I am not complaining about my county. What I am saying is these things that are going on right now are not okay. And Mississippi, I've seen the news about you too. You spend half as much money on education as we do here in Maryland, in my county, and somehow you're performing way better than us. So congratulations, Mississippi. If you're anyone from Mississippi's out there watching, you're doing it the right way. And how do I know that? Because the data says so. The actual data. Mississippi is on top, or close to the top. Much closer than Maryland, much closer than Pennsylvania, my home state. And they're just choosing to put rules in place to let people know where the line of appropriate and inappropriate is. And I wish that more people would just acknowledge that sometimes being too millennial, too soft, is not okay. It gives no line of right and wrong. We can give all the SEL lessons, all the understanding of history possible. The fifth graders I teach are living and breathing that almost every social studies lesson, almost every single day for the SEL lesson. And it's not making a difference in what they're doing. The softer side is not filling in what the kids need. There is a little bit more of the Gen X side of the harsher consequences. If you threaten a teacher, there needs to be a consequence. If you hit a teacher, there should be a consequence. If you punch another student, it should be documented. We live in a time where we try to sugarcoat, we try to hide the truth of how many of these incidents are happening to save face. I don't know what it is. But we don't tell the truth and nothing but the truth. We tell little white lies to make it seem okay, to make our school seem kind of at least in the middle. But again, it's not making a result. The kids aren't able to pass the tests. We failed Gen Z. We failed some of the generations before that. I've been doing this a long time. And again, this is my first live video, so it's just funny seeing some of the things come through. In fact, this morning I had to Google how to make a live stream on YouTube. And yeah, I have no idea. One of the comments, whether standing up to my county, I don't even know if I'm standing up. I know that I've booked a time with my Board of Ed to talk, and I get 3 minutes. I know I've used 48 minutes now, and I'm just telling it how it is, because if I lose my job, then I lose my job. I don't want to quit my job. I'm speaking up because the way that we're approaching things isn't right. So thank you for some of your comments. And if there are any students, I know on my Extinction Cometh channel, which this is live streaming on because I have the largest audience, if there are any younger people that are neither the Gen X, the millennial generation, the Gen Alpha, the Gen Z, if you see some of these things taking place in your classroom, tell your parents exactly what happened. And be honest about how you're feeling. I know your teachers are telling you, acknowledge your feelings, talk to a trusted adult, do it, but do it because your parents are the ones that can make a difference. Parents, if your child comes to you and says, this is happening, Speak up. File a report. If your child has been attacked by another student, file a report. With the thing 2.5 weeks ago at my school, I almost called the police. I have never once in my life called the police. But I know that that would get it on the radar. I know we can't overlook that. And I want to be able to make a change. I want to be able to have an open discussion with anyone that will discuss it so that kids are safer, so that kids and teachers are not suffering from PTSD. Watching this happen every day. And again, I know my county is not alone, but being told from higher ups, yeah, it's happening at other schools too, throughout the county. Yeah, it's happening across the state. Yeah, oh yeah, it's happening across the whole United States. Oh, people from Australia, yeah, I've seen some of your videos too. Australia, the school systems are falling apart too, with the same types of things. I don't know how to change the world. I don't know how to bring that up. But I know it seems hypocritical to every day to my kids say, you matter. You can make a difference. One person can make a difference. And again, we're again in my school we each have a superhero, and I've chosen Captain Planet just because I like the fact that he says the power is yours. So regardless about how you feel about cheesy 90s cartoons, the power is yours. But it has to be a group effort. It has to be everyone acknowledging that there is a problem, and that is the first step. With so many things, acknowledging you have a problem is the first step. School districts have a problem. We need to acknowledge it. We're failing our kids. 19% passing, not acceptable. 31% passing nationwide in reading, not acceptable. We need to be looking at some of these things in a way that makes sense, that helps kids, that helps teachers. And I've already gone long, so I don't want to keep, but I appreciate some of you that are watching. And again, I don't know what one person can do, but I know what this one person can't do is to sit by and say nothing. This person, this one guy, this just regular guy of no importance, this one regular guy needs to stand up for my coworkers who have been assaulted this year and say, it's not okay. Someone needs to fight the fight for the people. And if I can be honest, it's hard being the guy in the elementary school speaking up. In some ways, it's hard being the white guy speaking up, though I'm a cultural mutt. The farm kid from Pennsylvania is trying to speak up, but nobody else is. So who will speak up for the people that are being abused and mistreated? The ones right in front of us every single day. Who's going to be the one that speaks up for the kids in Gen Z who aren't successful? Who's standing up for the victims? I almost feel like being a teacher now is like the late 90s, early 2000s with the Me Too movement. Teachers won't speak up and say, hey, I'm being assaulted, I'm being abused, I've been pushed down the stairs. And they just suck it up and take it, wipe away their tears, take the state or give the state tests, give the accommodations, go home, cry, come back and do it again. How is it that different? And the people that like to leave the comments, that are bashing, well, it's not that bad. People are just complaining. That's exactly what happened before the Me Too movement. So I don't know what movement this should be. A movement toward common sense, a movement toward acknowledgement that these things are not okay and it's not right. And no one over the last 25 years has had a good answer on how to help. So let me wrap up here. Thank you to those people that are watching, especially on my Extinction Cometh website. I try to make it a fun place because deep down, I always wanted to be a biologist, a scientist, but I am just a teacher. And going forward, I will make sure that I keep the content of this channel to that. I have another channel that I've started with other songs and other spins and sarcastic wit, I guess, called the Pocket Gophers, based on a band, quote unquote, that a couple of friends and I had in college. That just encourages people to dig a little deeper on topics. Again, don't want to get political, don't want to get deep in the weeds. All of the stuff I do on this channel and that I will do on that channel and what I do in front of my kids each and every day is to bring awareness. Hopefully in a fun way. Though I know this video is not fun at all. But just bring awareness. And through awareness of what's really going on, the truth of the situation, hopefully the awareness brought by this video at my school with real details will lead other people, like the Me Too movement, like some other movements that have taken place, that it's not okay what's going on. Being attacked, being mistreated is not okay. And hopefully some of you will share this video with your school districts, with your counties. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I don't even know how to turn this thing off.